that mean? Well, you can get a new computer, and then we can transfer the data that was on there to that hard drive or something. I go, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Did they say who has desktop computers now, old man? Like,
Listen, this is a long time ago, but there's stuff on there I might like, for crying out loud.
oh yeah, you need a hard drive. What I did when I took my desktop apart was you could buy this little enclosure that you take an internal hard drive and put it into an enclosure that makes it like an external hard drive. Then you can just plug it in through a USB. That's what I did.
That's what I think I want to do.
That's what I did.
But of course, again, there's a lot of software that I had on that freaking thing that was like I don't have anymore because I got them from other places. You know what I mean? So. Like Illustrator files and things like that. So anyway, okay,
right,
why is it? I want to change this camera so it's not just on freaking Mike Downs all the time.
Well, that's because I'm not talking, though. Am I up there now?
No, you're not changing. It's not dynamic or
okay,
whatever.
so I just looked up how to do that, and what you got to do is you got to. One of them has a white box around it.
I see
click on it, and click on it again, and that'll go away.
Oh, okay.
Because mine's toggling.
Yeah, good, perfect.
It's called autofocus.
And I think what did Dijo had? Dijo had something there. I'm not going to talk. He sounds good, so I'm not going to talk to him to change anything for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready to fucking do this? So this is season 2, episode 48. We are 2 episodes right away from our big extravaganza.
Yes.
Okay.
So how will we? Oh yeah, this one we'll have to like grab from YouTube again, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's a very cool art museum print behind you, Dijo.
You like that? Yeah. Like I'm saying, the one up in the corner. You like that? Yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
Let's do it.
Oh, let me just grab my backup beer for a second here.
And I will have a Dorito.
I have a Dorito! Fucking shit! Get off my court! Uh-oh, what was that? Well, hopefully nothing important.
Oh.
What?
I should tweet the URL, I guess.
I mean, you could.
Why not, right?
So that sounds better, Downs?
Oh, yeah, way better.
That's weird. Maybe it is my laptop, because I just thought I booted. I was like, oh, I'm going to try the work one, see if that makes a difference. I mean, Google Hangouts is the same thing. I mean, if we have to do it on this, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, the audio quality is much better. Again, it's a different system though than what Skype is, right? So that
could be something. Yeah.
This is all browser based, right? And this shouldn't hardware shouldn't affect this too much, right? So in terms of getting around, and also it's auto sensing better in terms of, like I said, dropping your video and prioritizing the sound, just like when you create a video for the web, that's what they'll do. The compression drops the picture and keeps and prioritizes the audio.
Also, well then, yeah. If this works okay, then let's do it. I mean, it's not. All we have to do, the only difference is instead of recording it, we just have to grab that URL. So it's not really.
Yeah.
Did I miss any terrific stories?
Oh, there was a lot of technical talk, buddy. You missed there.
Oh, I knew it.
All right, well, let's go.
Okay.
Dill pickled Doritos. Amazing.
It's the pickle that's the best part.
Those aren't them, though. Those are zesty cheese. All right. Ready to do this?
Yep. Okay, so what's the order?
Order will be Christian, then Dijo.
Okay. Oh.
I'm sorry. I know that's not what you wanted.
That doesn't matter to me.
No, I just made it because it sounded like someone moved a chair there or something.
That's me, my stool behind me. I'm tired of standing, but I'm going to fucking try and stand and sit and be quiet. Ready?
Yep.
Yes.
All righty. Hello and welcome to the Atomic Geeks podcast. I am tonight's host, Mike Downs, as I wail as a siren or a school bell, maybe you might say. I am in my basement at what I call Boxwood Brewing, and I'm drinking some Amber Light. is what I call this. Let's see who's to the left of me and who is to the right.
Oh, hello, Internet. It's your pal, Christian, from the town of Oakville, assuming he is to the left on this podcast. And let me tell you, I'm hot for podcasting after school. There we go. That was the worst attempt to link an intro to the topic ever done on the history of the Atomic Geeks podcast. And as I've created this new masterpiece, I'm drinking myself a gold can of Old Milwaukee. Old Milwaukee. If you know anything about podcasting, you should be drinking Old Milwaukee.
And hey, it's Michael DiGiovanni, and I'm currently stuffed in a locker. But while I'm in there, I am podcasting and lockering under the influence because I'm drinking me one of Bellwood's Brewery's Monogamy Single Hop Pale Ales.
Oh, well, I was just about to talk about Christian's Old Milwaukee because I brought that up last week. He hadn't had it for a while, but that name just you have to mention what was it, the mahogany and the
monogamy
and the mahogany.
So if you're having an affair and your wife, you're not allowed to drink that beer?
No, it's monogamy. It's only a single hop pale ale, so it's monogamous.
Oh, so it has nothing to do with the status of your relationship and the recent hacking of Ashley Madison.
This brewery quickly turned the beer around very fast in
That's
relationship.
Right.
If I drink this beer, everything will get better. If I have like a whole case, I'll be fine. Everything will be good.
Look, honey, even my beer is monogamous, just like me. Yeah, that is well-timed marketing for sure.
Yes, they quickly threw a batch together just to alleviate that whole Ashley Madison debacle.
That's pretty freaking smart.
Right-wing Mormons need not drink this.
Yeah, because there's some right-wing Mormons drinking beer, but that's not this beer.
Right. There goes any hope for iTunes reviews from the Mormon community.
Yeah, especially those ones who likes the side hugs, for crying out loud. Keeping it current on the Atomic Geeks podcast for no good reason.
Yeah, because that's not really geeky, and we don't do news anymore, so I don't know why we're talking about this stuff. So why don't we move into tonight's topic? As we mentioned, or as Christian alluded to, one of my favorite bands and songs, Half a Teacher. The Atomic Geeks are going back to school. It's that time of year. It's hard to miss. I think I mentioned last week on the show, I think we discussed, it seems that our American brothers and sisters have already sent their kids back. I noticed, I think...
They go a bit earlier, I think.
They go really fucking early. Like, it's only just turned September tomorrow at the time of this recording, and their kids been back almost a week or two. That kind of blows my mind.
I think they got to catch up with that new math that all us Canadian kids are learning in the womb with our hypno rays, for crying out loud.
This is also further proof that the Americans hate summer. They just hate it.
Actually, I heard that they have a kind of March break in the fall. So sometime around November, maybe around their Thanksgiving or maybe a little bit earlier, they're off a little bit more for like a week in time, sometime in that time period, I guess. Someone at work told me.
Well, not from what I understand is that the Yankee Doodles have such a passion for back-to-school supplies that they've actually started the school year earlier in order to satiate that passion for buying protractors and pencil crayons.
You guys like binders this much? We should just go back to school August 10th.
Let's get those binders now!
What? 2 months off? Fuck that. Let's just take 6 weeks off, man. Let's get back to school.
That's right. It's like those Black Fridays, and then there's like School Supply Monday, apparently.
Yeah. And then it's like My Little Pony pencil cases, and it's July 7th, and you're back to school.
That's right. Back to school. No, because my kids go back one day this week, and then like Thursday, and then that's it. They're not back on Friday, and then they don't go back to real school really till after Labor Day. That's when school seems to. That's when I always went to school. Was after Labor Day.
But why are they going just a random day this week?
Oh my! So the school board down here, they do this at the end of the year too. When they get the report cards, it's like on a Tuesday morning. They didn't go to school Monday, and they have to go back on Tuesday for an hour to get their report cards. It's ridiculous. It's some stupid ass way of doing things.
That got very complicated. In fact, I kind of tuned out a little bit during that story.
I thought it was because that Nova Scotia is closer to the border than we are. Maybe that's why you actually have to go a day earlier.
Yeah, the Americas are sinking in a little bit. It's
but maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're getting some of that U.S. of A. influence on our goddamn
the school supply fervor taking over friggin' the maritime provinces for crying out loud.
Right, man. I heard that there was a sale at Walmart the other day, and some lady cut another lady with a protractor. It was pretty bad.
Right. So people running in and crushing small children. Where are the trapper keepers? I need them now.
Trapper keepers.
So this is pretty much the topic right here, eh?
I was just ripping on back to school. We're going to talk about that now for the next 90 minutes.
That's right. Making wide, broad-based assumptions on an entire country's passion for education and the supplies that fuel that education.
No. We're going to talk about movies and back to school. Although it's funny, yeah, we're going to talk about movies in school maybe not so many back to school. So my process of this, I did some research, right, and I was looking at like back to school lists of movies, and I was pretty disappointed that most of them focused around, things like Grease. The lists were all very, very similar. There was Dead Poet Society, some obvious ones on the list, but the one movie I wanted to start with that I didn't kind of know was a back to school movie, so I was going to kind of throw it for a bit of a loop off the top, is 10 Things I Hate About You with Heath Ledger. So I've never seen this movie, so that's why I didn't know it was about going back to school.
Well, that's that movie which stars Heath Ledger and that sour-faced girl from the Bourne Identity movies.
Oh yeah.
She's always on the headsets and going, Jason, I don't know anything about your life or anything, and then she's totally lying the whole time or something like that.
Julia Stiles? Is that?
Yeah.
God, I don't know where I pulled that up from, but Christ.
Points for Dijo for name dropping.
Jesus. Yeah. You know what? Okay, Downs. It's going to be hard to. These aren't necessarily all using air quotes back to school movies.
No, and I mean most of mine
are just school movies.
But most of mine are ones I just think of when I think of school. I think of these movies. In fact, one of them is about the end of the school, right?
But I mean, that first movie you mentioned, Grease, is a totally back-to-school movie. Because I remember that movie, and they're all coming back, right? And everyone's coming back, and they got their fucking stories about how their summer was and all that shit. It's a new year, their final year, blah, blah, blah. We're combing our hair differently. We got friggin' poodle skirts and leather jackets. Like, the beginning of that movie was totally for the theme of this friggin' podcast.
Where I think that Heath Ledger one... I think I may have watched it, but it's just set in school.
The one thing I remember that movie is that Julia Stiles gets really drunk in that movie, and then she dances in a dining room underneath a chandelier or something like that.
I feel like that was Heath Ledger's, I don't want to say breakout, but it was sort of his first maybe North American film, don't you think?
Yeah, that's when I look at it. I remember him from, what's the movie where A Knight's Tale?
Yeah, that was his breakout, I think.
Which I fucking love that movie. I watched it over and I'm like, that is a silly, stupid movie, but he's fucking awesome. And so was the other British skinny dude who's.
So that 10 Ways to Kill a Boyfriend or whatever movie, wasn't that like based on a kind of like the Taming of the Shrew or something like that? Like wasn't Heath Ledger paid to freaking date this girl to shut her up so this other girl could date her boyfriend and go to the prom and have sex in the backseat of a car?
It's something like that.
What 10 Things I Hate About You?
Yeah.
That the whole story, Christian, there is just a complete lift from a Shakespeare novel, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for the spoiler alert, jackass. I mean, I watched the trailer, but I haven't seen the movie yet. Thanks a lot.
The spoiler rule is not in effect for 10 Things.
No, I didn't say what happens in the movie. I was saying what the theme of the movie was. I don't know if they had sex in the backseat of a car or not. I'm just assuming that's what the goal was.
Totally spoiled it that it's the girl who's doing a deal. I didn't know that that it was like some chick paid in.
Well, you brought up the movie. I was only asking under the auspices, and if that's hopefully I use that big word correctly, that you've actually seen the movie. So,
no, I said right off the top, this is one I haven't seen, and that way made a whole big point of discussing it.
Why would you bring up a movie for a topic of a conversation that you haven't fucking seen?
Because I didn't know when I thought 10 Things I Hate About You. I had no idea it was about a bunch of high school kids. I thought it was about party people in New York City or something. I had no clue that it was about school. Is what
At
I'm
the
trying
beginning
to
of this
fucking say.
topic, you're having an aside about a movie that you didn't think was even related to the topic.
I said how I went through the fucking list about going back to school, and one of the ones that surprised me most was this one, which was the one I've never fucking seen. Are
I
you
just-
listening
I don't-
to the fucking show, or
I don't even know how we're even going to have a conversation about this movie if none of us have seen it except for me. And that sounds like something totally impossible.
No, I said I think I've seen it. I just don't remember it. That was what I was.
That doesn't still fucking help, really.
Well, what I was saying is, I think I can confirm that they were in school at a scene in that
Heath
movie.
Ledger sings a romantic song on the bleachers in this movie. That I also remember.
I saw that. So I watched the trailer so I could get up to speed because I was like, I didn't know this was what this movie. This was the subject matter of this movie, so I was shocked by that.
Yeah.
So you're saying
I had a totally different expectation about what this movie was about.
Were you really shocked? Like shocked?
same thing.
Shocked. Like what tooth? Okay. Like
Did your right hand clench your chest and go, God, this is the movie?
I said to my wife, did you know that 10 Things I Hate About You is a movie about a bunch of high school kids? That's fucking unbelievable.
If you rolled the dice and made a prediction as to what that movie might be about, it'd be about a group of party people in New York City or high school students. Like, those are the only kind of the obvious options. If we told you it was a body-snatching sci-fi invasion, I get being shocked. But, like...
Yeah, because I could definitely think about 10 things I would hate about people that body snatch, for crying out loud. I would pick like 10 names of people who've been body snatched. That'd be a start.
I'm just saying. I didn't know it was a high school movie.
Well, this is... Well... Okay, so where do we go from there?
Well, so going back to the beginning of my list, the obvious one that we mentioned, Grease, was on this list. Another one, I think, actually, this one was kind of missing on these lists. I was surprised by that. This other movie I never knew or didn't know was about school, and the Rodney Danger vehicle Back to School wasn't on some of these lists. I was shocked by that.
Now we're talking, for crying out loud, to a certain extent. I mean, first of all, the title of the movie has the words "back to school" in it, so it really kind of fits in pretty good with this fucking topic. Second of all, this has got to be one of my all-time favorites movies. I mean, I'm not going to say it's in top 10, but if I'm switching channels and switching channels, like not knowing what's next, if I'm switching through my guide on my DVR and I see Back to School, I'm like, fuck, stop the presses. I'm got to watch what point this movie is happening, for crying out, because that is a fucking great movie.
This is and I think we're going to stumble upon this a lot in the discussion of these types of movies. These are all kind of, especially that Back to School Rodney Dangerfield one, these are all like videotape classics, eh? Like, these are like go in a video store and see the cover. I can see the cover of that Rodney Dangerfield movie, right? You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, he's got the cap and the gown, and he's looking off to the left, and his googly eyes are popping out of his head, and he's giving the thumbs up or something like that, for crying out loud.
It's just that there's the best of these genres. I feel the majority of them are video store memories to me.
Yeah. I mean, thankful for this movie, to this very day, when I go to my in-laws' swimming pool and step on the diving board, every single time I have to make that farting sound in my armpit and then check the wind with my thumb by licking my thumb first, every single time.
Arguably one of the most classic diving board scenes. You know, that's probably got to be in the top 5 diving board scenes.
It's got to be. Triple Lindy, baby, doesn't do better than that. That movie and that movie with the horse that dives off the diving board with the blind girl.
And another high school classic when Phoebe Cates is on the diving board and she takes her bikini top off.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Another crazy-ass high school movie, for crying out loud.
Actually, I didn't even think that's not even on my list. That's a fucking great movie.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie, and that's one of those high school movies, and there's a couple other ones in that kind of genre where it's like, when I watched it with my young face, I said to myself, "Holy shit!"
How's your young face doing? I haven't talked to
Got
him.
a couple extra chins underneath it, but so far so good. But this is one of those movies that was kind of like, whoa, the lifestyle I lead right now is not exactly as exciting as apparently the ones that these kids are doing, because they're doing a whole bunch of shit that I couldn't even conceive of actually partaking in, for crying out loud.
But you could say that about any of these, like school, like high school or like especially university college films. Like here's a question for you guys: what do you prefer? University, college set movies or high school movies? What's your preference?
Oh, university for me personally.
Well,
yes.
I think it depends on. So I think comedies are better university, college movies. I think drama are better high school movies.
See, I think if I look at my list, I think the better films are high school movies.
Why? Because you like to see young girls get topless and possibly kiss in those movies?
No, I just think for some reason when I just look at the list and I go through movies that are more closer to my heart and just better fucking movies are the high school ones. I think I don't want to start just rhyming off them, but high school is, I think, a better platform for movies than college is.
But I mean, I didn't ask you to make a list of college movies. So how many college movies do you have on a list?
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, there's the Animal Houses, there's old school,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think college movies are Van Wilder. They're a comedy. See some boobs, video stores, rental. Another one on my list, Heathers, great fucking movie, is a high school movie, right? Like that, and that's why I say that's a drama and maybe a dark comedy. I think they're different. They work differently.
Yeah, but well, I agree. But I think maybe you're right. High school tends to have a broader range, but there's a lot of comedy set in high school too that are good.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of. I mean, okay. One comedies that are set in high school. I guess you think yourself your American Pie, fucking quintrilogy, whatever the fucking 8,000 movies have made up that series.
Superbad.
Yeah, you took that out of my face.
What about Dazed and Confused?
Like that's on my list. That's one of my all-time favorite. But I mean, that's the end of school, but it's
still a school movie. That's set in high school.
It's not really a comedy. It's kind of more of a drama.
Well.
It's a bit of column A and column B, I guess.
There are funny scenes in it, but there are funny scenes in dramas too. But I think at the end of the day, that's a coming-of-age story more than it is a comedy.
So you're saying
more than Road Trip? You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, so college is more like your wacky romps. They tend to be,
it seems
right?
To be, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think of.
Yeah, but then you don't want to watch fucking.
Serious? That's a
university. You don't want to watch freaking about dramas about kids in university, for crying out loud, because they usually just suck, for crying out loud. I mean, what? I mean, not that they suck, but I mean, well, I guess they kind of suck. I mean, there's that one movie. What's the one with that old school movie with Kiefer Sutherland where and all those other kids where they try to figure out what it feels like they die?
I just said that. Flatliners.
Oh, did they? Yeah. I never watched that fucking movie.
And isn't there one with Matthew Modine where not Grey's Anatomy?
Oh, you're right.
There's a movie where he's a doctor. I think he's like a med student or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's a movie, Paper Chase. I mean, it's a really good movie. And I'm bringing it old school with this fucking movie, for crying out loud, where guys are trying to get fucking degrees and just kicking the shit out of themselves, for crying out loud.
It just seems to be, I think, like, I was thinking when you were talking, DJ, like Suicide Diaries. Again, that's not really high school, but that is the age of teenage
angst.
Angst and innocence kind of being taken away, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that seems to be...
I just think for my personal taste, I think the better movies fall into high school movies than the college films. I'm not saying I don't like any of them, but they tend to be one note. They're very frat. Everything is frat, you know what I mean. Where high school, there's 16 Candles and Breakfast Club, and there's a lot of great movies that are high school movies.
Yeah, again, I think it's that coming of age. It's that, Dawson's Creek, that whole TV show was built around that time period, right? Like that was these young adults are, I think it's a little bit different than when you go to college, I guess, than in terms of the serious storytelling, I think.
16 Candles, that was the movie I saw on my first date ever in my young existence.
Really?
Yeah, I went out with a teacher's daughter, for crying out loud, to see that movie. Let me tell you, that holding hands in the back of her dad's Volvo on the ride back home was pretty awesome, and that was the end of the relationship.
Hey man, you got what you wanted. You got a good hand holding.
I should have wiggled my fingers more or something like that, because it never was to grow from there. For crying out loud.
Did your thumbs touch at all, or?
I can't remember. It's all such a blur. I was such a fever of emotion. It was hard to remember, for crying out loud. And then 7 years later, I finally had another date. No.
The 16 Candles. We watched that when I was growing up. My sisters and I. Holy crap! Did we watch that movie a lot? Like I've probably seen that like 30 times. I would say.
Oh wow! I've seen it a couple times. Not nearly. That wasn't that big of a movie in our house. That's for sure.
That party, again, as I watched it at the age that I watched it, for crying, I was like, holy shit! When are these parties going to happen, for crying out loud? Because like when that guy came back to his house, my wife's secret or not so secret crush, fucking Jake, for crying out loud. Came back to the house, and the house is just totally friggin' trashed, and he's walking around not giving a shit, dickhead.
Oh, okay,
and the kid's trapped under the table, and there's a pile of beers everywhere. Good grief.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is there's two things that could solve that. One, is that an American thing? Because in my high school era, we had parties, but none of these friggin' like... what is that movie? Can't Hardly Wait, with Jennifer Love Hewitt, another high school movie.
Oh yeah, great movie.
They throw a house party that it's like I've never been to one like that in my life.
Yeah, as an adult, I've never had a party that fucking raging.
And you're like 16, so maybe it's an American thing, or did we just grow up in small towns? You know what I mean? Like.
But for who? I mean, granted, I understand, listener, that this is the actual situation is blown up to larger, extrapolated to greater freaking comedic effect, for crying out loud. But this kind of things happen. Who are the parents that don't know this kind of shit's going on in their house, for crying out loud? You know what I mean? I mean, if it was my kids, I'd be up in the bedroom with the door closed, but the freaking nanny cams all over the freaking house.
Well, but I think the point was the parents had gone away on vacation, right, when those parties are being thrown. You didn't go to many high school parties, did you, Christian?
I wish I could have, but I guess I just wasn't. I was too cool. I think the problem was, you know what I mean? Hey, let's ask that guy that walks around like a scarecrow and needs a haircut very badly. He would be a good guy to have at the party.
It's funny as you say this, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, I remember one of my buddies once, some parents went away. I didn't have that many experiences like that, but this one buddy, they had a big gravel pit out behind their house, like, because we grew up in kind of the country, right? So, or like in a small town and close to the country. So, for one, we drove around in pickup trucks with cases of beer and drank in a pickup truck. That was what you did, right? Which is very almost American sounding.
Did you take rifles and shoot like speed limit signs and stuff
like
that?
Did not do that. No, did not do that. Right. But I remember, like, when my buddy Darcy had parties, they were like the Dazed and Confused party, where it's like people are wandering around and there's just like little groups of people everywhere, or sitting on cars or whatever, loaded out of their fucking trees, right? Like, and fights over here, and then like it was that what I love about that movie so much is that experience reminds me of nights in my life. Do you know what I mean? That party scene.
That one felt pretty accurate, I think, in a way. Granted, it was from like a bit of a different era than when we grew up in, but it still felt because we used to do bush parties, and they were like just drinking outside, and a couple cars pulled up, and you're right. But you see these like ragers that high school students have, and they have kegs and all these red cups, and there's like people dancing all throughout the entire house, and guys up on the banister, and it's like, who the frig has is this what's happening in the OC that we don't realize? Or and
it's like, where are the cops? Like, you know what I mean? And like, anywhere I grew up, if a party was that raging, it would have been shut down. There's just neighbors would have known about that. I'm just surprised. Or is it just Hollywood? Are they just
embellishing? Because we like when I went to high school parties when parents would go away, but it would be like 40 people. You know what I mean? Like it would be 40 people drinking in someone's basement.
Not one guy would put a lampshade on its head for crying out loud.
Never once. Not one lampshade head.
Oh, someone's eating Doritos.
Okay, wait. Well, if we're taking a break, I'm gonna go grab a beer. Wait one second.
How can you hear that? I had my microphone muted. Did not mute?
Well, of course you did. Yeah, but gee, maybe that big microphone symbol that has the line through it, there's a reason for it. And I discern that reason through my Sherlock Holmes-like deductive abilities. I can't hear you now. You're muted.
I said I muted it before. It was red, and when I was eating my Doritos. Thank you very much.
I look at your picture, and it's got a microphone mute sign on it. I say to myself, he's probably muting it because he's eating Doritos.
Oh, you didn't hear me. You were just saying that. Fuck you.
No, I was just saying. I was just deducting the reason why you were doing it. Aha! The game was afoot, and I apparently won the game.
All right, I gotta pee then too.
All right. Remember where you are. And I'll just sit here by myself for the internet to look at my face. Hey, hey, hey.
So is the sound quality okay still?
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Oh, well, maybe we should do this. I mean,
get your $15 back for that goddamn EVR software.
Well, no, but but I'm just thinking like maybe it's I've kind of just been resisting buying a new laptop. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Jesus Christ! You put fucking beer and fucking geek and nerd on a freaking post, and it's like people go, "Hello there, I will follow you."
I was gonna say that. It's like you put up funny things, and it's like we've been laboring to get likes on stuff again, and then you put up a picture of you holding a can of beer, and it gets 14 likes.
That's the biggest like thing on Instagram ever is doing that.
Well, I'm going to Fan Expo on Friday, so I'm gonna probably put up a bunch of.
I can't do that. I was originally going to do it, but I realized I've got an extra kid this week, so there's no way that's going to fucking happen.
Oh, okay.
So you and fucking Izzy, whatever his name is.
Reza,
right. Should enjoy the show. Are you bringing Madeline, or just you two are going?
Just we're going, yeah. We're only going for like a few hours. Like I'm only going from like 10 till like 2 or something. Okay, so Downs, I guess you can take us off somewhere else.
All right. Well, we've mostly blazed through my list. We talked about Dazed and Confused.
All right. Well, let's get to anything else then.
No. But what about you guys? Was there something, DJ, on your list in terms of movies we haven't mentioned in terms of getting back to school movies or making you think of school movies?
Yeah, there's a couple. When I mentioned 16 Candles, another movie that was on high rotation at my house, also because I had 4 older sisters, so they controlled a lot of this, was the movie Can't Buy Me Love. That movie with I
love that movie. Patrick Dempsey and that little freaking blonde girl when she got their mother's leather outfit that kind of pushed up her boobs just a little bit, and she got the fringe on the sides and stuff.
That actress has passed away actually already.
Yeah.
I just heard that. Yeah. She wasn't very old, but she didn't do much post that. But I thought she was hot when she was in that movie. That's another one of those movies that we just watched a lot, and it's about the nerd that pays the girl to date him to increase his popularity, and then obviously he gets super cool. It's a good movie. The other one that I also remembered too was, do you remember 3 O'Clock High?
Oh, I love that movie.
That one. I don't know that movie.
That was filmed in Ontario. It starred Casey Semenko or Damascus. He's the guy from
Young Guns.
Young Guns. He goes, I'm a pugilist, and I just got married. The villain in that movie was what the fuck was he in, for crying out? He was in The Nightman with Joanna Kearns, because I remember Joanna Kearns is getting fondled by this gentleman, and she's cursing. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but anyway, and what the heck was his name? He's been in other movies for crying out loud.
He's got a giant head. He looks like a barbarian, this guy.
Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta jump in because I saw Casey Zemenko in a bar one time at the Black Bull in Toronto with I think they were shooting the movie Nick of Time, with Johnny Depp.
Right, I've heard of him.
Oh, right, yes.
There was another girl, a woman actress. She's kind of this like Latina woman. She has really long, but it's like curls straight, and she's kind of this tough woman. Do you know who I mean?
Oh.
She plays like a federal agent in Nick of Time. Anyways, but
Lucille Ball?
Maria Conchita Alonso.
Maria Conchita. That's probably the best guess after how I've described this poor fucking lady. But also, they were there, and we were at the Black Bull, and David Carradine was at the bar as well that night. It was quite.
And they were having a giant orgy on one of the tables on the patio.
No, the Casey Semenko and this other woman, actor, they were playing pool actually over on the pool table at the Black Bull in Toronto.
No, Downs, you've never seen 3 O'Clock. 3 O'Clock High is like Casey Semenko,
Casey Semenko.
He is like this nerdy guy that gets challenged to fight the big bully of the high school, and it's basically a countdown to him trying to get out of this before 3 o'clock where he's going to fight the guy.
That sounds kind of familiar now.
It's one of those just classic 80s. I think the video, I can see the cover. It's like him hanging from a clock or something.
Yeah, but he's being held into like a giant fist through the clock tower. You know what I mean? Not that the bully was that size, because he was like a normal-sized kid. Well, not really. He was like an adult that went to high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was a good friggin' movie, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Cool.
but I would say my last, which I would probably say is my favorite movie set in a high school, or is an important pivotal parts of it are in a high school, is Back to the Future. Like that's a high school movie. I mean, it really is.
I didn't think about that at all, but I mean, you think about the dance, right, and all that shit that goes on around that, right?
No, but he goes to the school, and like they have the prom, and like it's like he meets his mom and dad when they're at high school. Like
yeah, they go to classes and stuff. Yeah, I don't think of that. I don't think of that off the top of my head as a school movie. It's just funny the way that again, different people approach the task. What about you, Christian? What did you have on your list in terms of high school, back to school movies?
One movie, again, much along the lines of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where my young self kind of realized, but my high school is very, very different than these high schools I'm seeing on the big screen. And that was the movie Teachers from 1984 that starred like Nick Nolte and fucking a whole slew of fucking jackasses.
No, and a song by REO Speedwagon that is probably more remembered than the actual movie.
Teacher, can you teach me?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
This is like a freaking New York City, whatever, downtown, whatever the fuck city where all the freaking kids are like just nuts, I guess. Like Ralph Macchio's in this, Judd Hirsch. The kid from Back to the Future, fucking Marty McFly's dad. What the hell's his name, for crying out loud? Crispin Glover.
Glover, yeah.
And there's a whole, like, all these, kids are all it's inner city kids going to high school, and apparently they don't like high school at all. And whole bunch of crazy shit's happening that never happened at my high school.
That is like, there's an entire subgenre of the terrible school where the kids just don't stand a chance, and then the right teacher comes in to shake things up and teach them a lesson. Like there's one of those movies comes out every generation. Like there is so many of those movies. Like Sam Jackson was in one. Michelle Pfeiffer did that one with the Coolio song. Like,
I think you're thinking of Morgan Freeman.
Dangerous Minds, I think, is the name of the Michelle Pfeiffer.
And Morgan Freeman was in that one where he's the principal with a baseball bat and he threatens to kill children if they don't learn how to read or something like that.
Yeah, like.
Oh, and you know what else is a great fucking movie from this genre? Edward James Olmos and.
Stand Up and Do Math.
Stand and Deliver. That is a fucking very good movie, though.
But it's funny that none of us well, we did reference them because we're talking about them now, but they're not in like our favorites. But those are like how that's the quintessential like. Then this teacher shows up with a briefcase, and he's gonna use his unique way of teaching to show these, to make this, give these kids a difference. Like,
I challenge you, listener, to watch the trailer for Teachers starring Nick Nolte on YouTube, because it goes, apparently, like I said, the one scene they show all the kids are outside because of a fire drill or something like that, and Judd Hirsch is like, half these kids are not going back to class once this fire drill is over. And then Nick Nolte goes, yes, but half of them will come back, right? And
I thought you were going to say.
And then the other teacher goes, you're crazy, and he goes, I'm a teacher. Bing! Freeze frame in a trailer.
Oh my! I thought you were going to say half of them are going to be dead. Like, I thought you were going to say something like. But, I can so hear that. So was that the song? Like, that was the movie that did the teacher?
Yeah, REO Speedwagon. That song is more popular than the movie itself is now. I mean,
it's a pretty appropriate song for the movie Teachers.
Really, it wasn't just a clever fucking coincidence.
Oh.
This reminds me of that movie too, My Bodyguard, where the guy, because that's a school movie too, right? Where Buddy's walking around with a big old
yeah.
dude, right? And that's an old 80s
that
VHS
is one of the
box
old movie, for crying out loud. That's like Christopher Makepeace, formerly very popular Canadian celebrity from goddamn Kids World, for all those freaking people who live in Ontario know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then his bodyguard is what's his face from fucking Firefly and freaking Chuck.
Oh,
Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin.
Yes,
wow.
And the bully is Matt Dillon.
Really?
Holy shit!
Yes,
really?
Moody. Yeah,
go back and watch
that. His name is Moody. Yes.
Matt Dillon is the okay. I'm not surprised by Matt Dillon being able to pull off a bully, but like he was.
That's just so old. Because was he even born? I mean, God.
Yes, he was born.
Well, I would hope, yeah. So they went, actually, funny thing, they took a time machine to the future, to the set of Tex, and brought Matt Dillon back. Who knew? Matt Dillon was a big deal back in that time.
That was one of his first movies, his first or second movie.
That had been pretty early on.
And Christopher Makepeace's grandma, because his dad worked in a hotel, and so he had lived in a hotel, and his grandmother was the famous actress who played Maude in the movie Harold and Maude.
Good Lord.
Wow, you have a fucking veritable fountain of useless information.
I actually think I may have read the actual movie book version of that movie for some reason. That stuck lightning bolt in my head. But anyway, I remember quite a lot about this movie.
Or you just have the internet on right now.
I don't. My hands are up in the air.
But it's funny because there was this kind of, again, in that time period, and you mentioned it, Christian, there is this kind of, again, a subgenre of hating school. The last movie on my list I haven't mentioned is a whole other genre we haven't even touched on, which is the horror movie genre. And specifically, my movie is Faculty, which is, finalized by Robert Rodriguez in terms of a director capacity. I quite like this movie. I love, there's some really great shots in it. I love it's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right, at a high school. But I love that movie. And there's like Scream is another fucking great horror movie. I mean, every Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street are all high school kids, basically.
Friday the 13th, yeah, they're all high school kids, but like freaking, they're not going to high school camp, for crying out loud, on Friday the 13th.
No, I mean, it's still high school kids. I was just naming, there's a fucking prom night, Hello Mary Lou, prom night 2.
Well, that makes more sense, for crying out loud. It's not back to high school kids, it's back to high school, where freaking high school itself is a freaking primary freaking focus of
I'm the fucking host. It's whatever I fucking say it's about, so fuck you.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize the title and theme of the podcast was that flexible, for crying out loud. That would have made my job a lot easier about 7 years ago.
Christian, why don't let's talk about movies that star people.
Whatever. This is the guy who, when he hosts, he changes the rules to every question so that he's the winner. So why are you fucking giving me such a hard time?
But honestly, you're right. I didn't even think of that there's so many horror movies that are set in high school eras. You know what I mean? Like Carrie and all that stuff. Like that, all of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Did that dog go to high school? Wait, how about in that freaking movie Christine? Did that guy drive this car to high school?
He did actually. He was a high school kid.
He worked on it in shop class.
And I'll say, Trick or Treat, the rock and roll horror movie I mentioned on the podcast before, also has Skippy in it from Facts of Life. What's the one with Michael J. Fox? Family Ties.
Family Ties.
Skippy from Family Ties is in the Trick or Treat movie I told you guys about, which is all about all the high school.
And I'm pretty sure
horror movie.
And I'm pretty sure in Maximum Overdrive that Green Goblin truck went right through a high school in one of those freaking scenes.
No, but you know the awesome movie The Wraith with Charlie Sheen? They're all in fucking high school.
Someone's got the internet working for him tonight.
I got nothing to do. That's all out of my fucking head, buddy. Nothing that's from the internet. That's just my knowledge of fucking movies. You called down the thunder, so.
Well, okay, I have another genre. If we're gonna start pulling out.
I was gonna say, do you have anything on your list also to mention?
I have a couple of movies.
Before I mute your microphone and kick you off the podcast.
Can you do that? I don't know if you can do that. Can you mute my microphone for crying out loud?
It's this new app that hosts have. They can just shut you out at any time.
Okay, so Christian's trying to talk right now, everybody listening at home, and he can't talk because I muted him.
You actually can do it. That's
all right. So I'm going to unmute him now. Oh, how do I unmute him? I can't unmute him.
Oh, that's sort of a weird feature that you can.
Oh no, you can mute him. You can't unmute him.
That might be a little problematic. We might be cutting.
And I swore to Mike Downs that I would never, ever show those photos to his wife. And I've kept that promise up to this very day. Oh, wait, am I back on? What's going on here?
You're back. The
other genre of movies in school that I thought was kind of interesting in my last two choices for movies were movies where everything goes really wrong and violent, and the two movies that came to mind to me were the movie Taps, starring Tom Cruise and friggin' what's his name?
Timothy Dalton. Oh, not Timothy Dalton. Timothy Hutton.
Timothy Hutton.
A very young Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton. I hate this school. This school is a big pile of shit.
Excellent Timothy Dalton impression.
That's about as good as it's going to get. Fucking Timothy Dalton with a bit of Sean Connery, but maybe a bit too much. And the movie Toy Soldiers. Remember that with starring Sean Austin and Will Wheaton? Step by step.
Once again, arguably a more famous song than movie.
Yeah.
Who sang that song? Nikita, for crying out loud? Was that it? If I pulled that out, I would like to know, for crying out loud.
If only there was a segment that we could throw to while we could discover such information.
Let's see if this happens. All right, let's find this out. The freaking song, Toy Soldier. 7% battery. That's no good. How am I supposed to talk on the internet? They all fall down
like a toy soldiers.
Whoops, not Yoy Soldiers. Toy Soldiers telephone. Oh, there he is.
Is it Berlin? No.
No, it's Nikita. Martika.
Okay,
ready. So pretty close. It wasn't Nikita. You will never know anything about my home. It was not Nikita. It was Marquita who came out with the number 7 hits on the Billboard charts. Was it 7? I have no idea.
Was it Martika? Was it Martika or Marquita?
Marquita.
Marquita.
Wait, did I say Martika? I should look at the internet again. Martika. No, it's Martika.
And so, but were you just singing Nikita by Elton John before then?
Yeah, I was totally blending friggin' Nikitas and Martikas.
Okay, so
that was like you're crossing the streams here.
I know, because I'm like,
Nikita is the song by Elton John. Toy Soldiers is the popular song sung by Marquita.
Wait, is it Martika or Marquita?
Oh, no, actually, no, it's Martika. Sorry, it's Martika. These old Milwaukee's, they start podcasting quick for crying.
Poor Marquita. We're no more fucking iTunes reviews from her or her fans.
That's right. For crying out loud. Yeah, released in 1988.
Wow.
There we go. But anyway, yeah. So like school movies where shit goes wrong, like Toy Soldiers, their school got taken over, so they
Red
Dawn.
Red Dawn, great
Dawn.
example.
Wolverines.
Wolverine. Yeah. Well, that got out of the high school genre pretty damn fucking quick in that fucking movie, for crying out loud.
But and then there was the whole like high school sports subgenre, like that's a big thing, like Friday Night Lights and other sports.
Sports movie reference here.
Like that other movie about lacrosse in the high school.
Oh well, you know what? Isn't there like remember that movie Hoosiers? Is a basketball movie.
That was college, yeah.
Hoosiers.
But no, Hoosiers is when Bob and Doug McKenzie.
You're a
decided to
fucking
start coaching
Hoosiers.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Oh, what about the cheerleader dance one with Faith in it? Bring it, just bring it.
Yeah,
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. That was a trilogy, that movie.
Oh, and would Clueless be considered a high school movie too?
Well,
yes.
It did primarily take place in high school, so I would agree that
That's
it was.
like, I would argue that's like a huge high school movie.
Quintessential,
yeah,
probably.
That, and then there's also that just made me think of Mean Girls with
Oh yeah, Mean Girls. Yes. So here's a tidbit for you for the annals of the Atomic Geeks annals of history. My brother, who's a little person, right? There's a little person in that movie, a female little person the Mean Girls make fun of. That is my brother's ex-wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's like 6 degrees of separation to Lindsay Lohan right there.
Mike Downs has 6 degrees.
Yeah, Mike Downs' brother, his ex-wife, and then Lindsay Lohan. So
that's right.
Hold on. Then you say Downs, and then you say me, and then to Christian. So Christian, that's 6 degrees of separation to Lindsay for you.
Holy shit! I'd never even realized that.
You could have cocaine and be in a car accident and be on TV in the matter of hours.
Well, you know what? That was
my wife's permission first, but I think she might go for it.
It's Lolo, baby, or I don't know what they call Lindsay Lohan. So.
I don't think they call her. I don't think they call her anything right now. She doesn't get called a thing. But that was her peak, I think, right? Like Mean Girls
Things were starting to already go bad, right? And she still got away with that movie. After that, she's in like the Herbie reboot, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
that was a long time ago.
But
there's a lot of wrestling in Hollywood right now, from what I understand. They're going to bring back that Parent Trap movie, right, where she plays like the twins when they're all grown up, and they have their own set of twins. So it's going to be like 2 sets of twins switching places all over the place.
Oh, like Freaky Friday Take 2 is what this is.
Yeah,
right?
but with 2 sets of twins, and all these twins look exactly the same for some reason. I don't understand.
So here's a question: Freaky Friday was one with
original one or the current one or the more recent one?
Well, no. When we were growing up, there was one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
And then there was one with Judge Reinhold, right? Was the
no, that was Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage. That was
what's that one called?
Here Come the Judge. I don't know.
That one's called like Just Like Dad or something like that. Or
yeah, but then there was the other one.
Freaky Monday, actually.
No, it was Judge Reinhold and there was Fred Savage. But then there was the other one that had Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore as well.
What are these movies called? Like, we need to know this
then
now.
There was the one with friggin' Perry, what's his face, Matthew Perry, and Zac Efron.
That one's 18 again, 17 again. That one.
Yes.
No, 18 again was George Burns and some other kid or something like that.
God,
okay, wait.
There is a George Burns one too. You're right, though.
Yeah, 18 again. I wish I was 18 again. I don't know the lyrics to this song.
Judge Reinhold and Fred.
Should we have a break for this?
Maybe. That movie's called Vice Versa.
Right. And then the freaking Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore.
That one's called...
It's called Father something or other?
Father of the Bride.
Father is in the title, I think. Switch.
Like father, like son.
Like
Good
father.
one.
Okay, here we go. We're back. Okay, so we're back. The Kirk Cameron Dudley Moore joint is called Like Father, Like Son, and then the Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage is called Vice Versa, and then I think the Zac Efron is called like 17 Again or something like that.
There are so many movies of the same fucking idea, though, right?
Switcheroo. Like,
but an 18 Again, starring George Burns and some other jackass. Basically, there's a car crash, and after the car crash, 18-year-old David Watson's body switches with 81-year-old Jack's mind. George Burns is fine, but Jack's body is in a coma. So his grandson is in his old, dilapidated body in a coma, and George Burns is living it up, freaking stipping freaking cheerleaders all over the place.
Yes. You know? Isn't that the one where the guy who was he had a box top haircut? He's a really weird-looking dude. I think I remember that movie too. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, I remember there's a redhead in that movie who has gigantic breasts, for crying out loud. That's one of the big friggin' things that stood out for me.
So there you go, kids.
No, there it is. Anita Morris. Look it up, jerks. And the actor's name was Charlie Schlatter.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a redhead in that movie that had gigantic boobs, and I said to myself, when that movie came out, that's the movie I would like to be a part of.
You know what? If we haven't thought of a title for this episode, this should just be called, you guys remember that movie?
High School Boobs is what this episode should be called.
High School Boobs. If Andrew Bloom was on the podcast, that's probably what it would be called. Okay, so any other worthy mentions, high school movies? Well, we didn't get to talk about Heathers a whole lot, man. I love that movie, I got to say. It's one of my, maybe not top five, certainly top 20, I would think. That is a great movie.
So you actually got it down to 20? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying somewhere, if I had to, it might be in there.
But no, so you're just basically, you're just imagining in your head, okay, quickly, if I was going to make a list, and there's, let's say 20 movies, that would be in there. It wouldn't be 10, but it wouldn't be, you know.
That's exactly what I did.
Wouldn't be 21, so I had to put it in the 20.
That's exactly what I did. It's not in the top 10, but maybe top 20s. And that makes me think of the other movie, Happy Harry Hard-On, Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. That is a good fucking movie.
That's not a high school movie.
That is a high school movie. He's a high school DJ who hates his high school, and he rips on it as a fucking underground DJ.
He is a high school pirate DJ, yes.
Yes.
And you love that fucking movie. I mean, not to freaking call anyone out for talking about the same thing over episode, but that is one of, as far as your topics in comparison to my topics, which is quite a few, I'll admit, but that is one of yours where you talk about that movie a lot, for crying out loud.
I wanted to grow up to be that guy. Pump Up the Volume. I love that.
Harry Hard-On, because he always mentions the character, not the actual actor's character's name, but the actual his freaking nom de plume or his freaking like on-air persona's name. You know what I mean? Like, what is the name of the character's actual real name? Do you remember that?
Mark something. I'm not sure his last name. I know it's Mark. I don't know what his last name is. Come on, Jesus.
That's kind of tough. Anyway.
What am I going to say? You know that movie starring Christian Slater when he plays Mark? Like, you're not going to know what movie I'm talking about then.
Oh, Mark. Famous roles ever.
Well, that was a movie where he was Mark. That was
you
good.
mean an Oscar-winning performance where he played the guy named Mark?
I'll give you that one, for crying out loud. I was way off base with that friggin' assumption, for crying out. But the ultimate...
At the Oscars, they cut to the clip where they're just like, Christian Slater as Mark? ...
I think the ultimate back-to-school movie, as of late, has got to be, especially for the theme of this podcast, has got to be the first fucking Harry Potter movie.
I actually, on their list, is it that the one they have? Harry Potter was on a lot of lists, actually. So yeah,
that has got to, because this is where this dumb kid is basically going to a new school, and he actually the best part of that movie, unlike any other movie I've seen, is one of the best parts is where he has to get his fucking school supplies.
Yeah,
you know, he has to get his fucking animal and his wand and shit.
Yeah, and just even the whole trip to school and getting his put into his group and where he sleeps and everything like that. I mean, it's a classic. back to
Like,
school
that
movie.
is the geekiest back to school fucking intro or movie ever.
Yeah, for sure. That is, I mean, the whole first reel of that movie is that, right? Is his experience of learning what Hogwarts is, right? Even when he's there, you're still learning about the mail, the fucking stairs, the ghosts, right? Like that's that entire movie mostly.
The one thing that made me wonder about that fucking movie is because every one of those friggin' dumbass kids in those dresses, they each and every single one of them has to have an animal. Like, not only have to have a wand, but they also have an animal, for crying out loud. Like, does friggin' Hogwarts like have a very friggin' powerful maintenance crew or something like that, or friggin' vet?
They're magicians.
A vet on also there's like the freaking like disappear 'em, poop 'em every day when they freaking before they go to class. Is that
That's the first spell they get taught.
Dude, like, you're questioning like this. They've got classes where you grow plants that eat people. I mean,
and their food appears magically out of thin air.
They're flying brooms to play sports. You're worried where they're putting the gerbils? Like what? Like,
listen, I don't think it's fair to friggin' cast stones against someone who's asking curious questions on an internet podcast, for crying out loud. Okay, that's someone has to do it, and I've taken that friggin' role upon myself to do that, for crying out loud. I'm asking the tough questions, asshole.
No, but you know what? I don't want to spoil this because in case you haven't seen the final episode, the whole reason they have those animals is because they're all being trained to be. Okay, spoiler alert, right? Is that the whole magic school is a farce. They're all being trained to be hitmen, and they have to kill their pets in the final fucking stage of the movie. That's what the whole movie's about.
Oh, see, I thought they raised them to be gigantic friggin' monster fighters that fight friggin' aliens from another dimension, for crying out
No,
loud.
they got to kill them as their final task to graduate from Hogwarts.
That's right, and then they get to fight friggin' girls with friggin' robot legs.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's going to do it for the old high school conversation. We're going to leave it on that note, I think.
We did it! We really did it!
It's hard to follow up that. Girls with robot legs. So let me
For the
ask.
role of Mark, the Academy Award goes to Christian Slater! Ah!
Can I just say that I had to really go down deep to find out what it was that Mark was about? You know, it took me places I had never been. He took me places I'd never been. Okay, is there?
I don't have anything, no.
Oh, do I have anything, for crying out loud? Not really. Actually, I really don't.
Do you, Downs? You have something like TV related, or?
Let's see.
Did you, even watching that friggin' Mystery Incorporated, you could probably talk about that, DJ, what you thought about that if you went back up what I had to fucking say last week.
Oh, wait, I have something I could maybe mention. If Downs, if you don't.
I don't have anything, no.
Okay, wait.
I'm just looking at the internet here quickly.
Wait, I have something. I just thought of it. Okay, well, I have something. You know what I'm finding kind of fascinating is the delivery of information that we are getting from Disney / Lucasfilms for Star Wars. It's been it fascinates me to think that there is obviously a strategy and a plan of how they're going to let all this stuff out. Obviously, they put out a teaser, they put out that first trailer, they're showing up at Comic-Con, D23, then there's like Vanity Fair. Did you guys notice now that they use the Star Wars Instagram feed to put out like a 10-second new clip of Star Wars? That was only available on Instagram. It's sort of like...
Well, until people put it on YouTube and then share it on Facebook, right?
Right, but just like, one, what did we think of the 3 seconds of new footage that we saw? But two, I think it's so interesting now that Lucasfilms, Disney, whoever, have this rollout plan that like it's so multi-channeled now. You know what I mean? Like, you give drips on like, okay, and then drop that Instagram thing, and then 3 weeks from now, Snapchat will have such and such. You know what I mean? It's like it's weird, like to me.
Who are the Sith Lords? Let's check on chat roulette because they'll tell you right away.
I think some of that is unintentional because they're just rolling out the Star Wars universe. So because one of the things I saw, I can't remember where it was, but the next video game is apparently a prequel to the movie that's coming out. And they're like, if you play this whole game, there's going to be spoilers because it is setting up literally where the next movie starts off with.
Yeah.
Whatever
Is that Battlefront? Is that Battlefront?
Star Wars Battlefront. Yes, it is. They've said if you play this game, they're showing kind of the
Battle of Jakku. That's one of the levels apparently of the game.
Yeah, and there's like the stormtroopers before the First Order, right? So there's going to be things that are revealed that we're not going to know unless you play that game, right? Like it's kind of like that Star Trek thing where they had that comic book before to bridge the universes, right?
Well, Marvel is about to release actually right around this drops in September. They're releasing a 6-issue comic book series that fills in the gaps between Return of the Jedi and where pretty much the starting point of The Force Awakens. So there's a whole I think there's a team of Star Wars story editors now, because everything that Disney puts out is considered canon. That includes the video games, like that game you're talking about. Them playing the Battle of Jakku is the story people thought about that and how it fits into the movie. Like the comics now all fit into this shit. Like the Rebels and all that stuff. Like it's that to me is crazy and intricate and smart, but just to look and go, oh, well, now you have to follow Star Wars on Instagram because you might get a blip of information there.
But if there's only a blip of footage that needs to be shown, it almost validates the use of Instagram as another medium to use. It's like, well, we had 5 seconds over here of fucking a stormtrooper eating a sandwich. Should we fucking put that on somewhere? Put it on Instagram. That makes sense. And then fucking just do it. You know what I
mean? The biggest thing is they showed Finn. That's the character, the guy from Attack the Block. He lights up a lightsaber in it. That's the money shot. Yeah. That's the money shot. That it looks like we're to presume he is going to throw down with Kylo Ren.
It looks like they're in the same jungle where you see Kylo Ren's lightsaber go up, and then he's in the same shit's falling on him in snow or whatever, right? Like that. So it looks like.
It's interesting that you're right, Christian. Maybe Instagram was the right platform to deliver that because it was really only about 4 seconds of new content.
Like at StarWars.com, hey, we got 4-second video to put up on YouTube for crying out loud. Get ready. It's going to be released after midnight. They'll up your bandwidth for crying out loud, dickheads.
I just think it's really interesting because there are people whose jobs it is to go, how are we going to deliver out this message until December 18th? Like, we know they have said as much, that another trailer is coming in the fall, whenever that is. But then there'll be, Entertainment Weekly will do a story, and then, someone's job is to say, October is when we do that, and this is when you do this, it's just the world has really changed.
Yeah, it's just we used to scramble for information when we were kids, and now it's thought of how we will find out pieces of information. Specifically, they're going to freak out about the Millennium Falcon today. You know what I mean? It feels kind of manipulated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally manipulated in the sense where they'll go, yes, someone will be allowed to tweet a photo November 3rd. You know what I mean? And that photo will show a new character.
Although, so interestingly enough, I'll share remember we've talked about when Jared was here about those toys.
Yeah.
So September 4th is the big Star Wars day. Well, so what's happened is all these Star Wars figures, including the new Black Series, I'm pointing over there even though they're over here now, they have the new Black Series for the movie coming out, which has the First Order. It has, what's his name, the dude who fights up against Kylo Ren. And they're they're out in the store, and people go to buy them, and they're not, the cash registers won't let them through. They're not allowed to be sold yet. So they got the products, they put it out there, but it's not allowed to be sold until a specific date, and so people are going to the cash register, and the Walmart has to go, sorry, we can't sell you these, you have to take them back.
So they're just on display for until September 4th.
Well, it was a big fuck up. Apparently, they weren't supposed to be even out on the floor yet.
Oh,
Really,
right.
is what
Okay.
it was. But it's kind of interesting. I thought it's all over the states. It happened everywhere apparently.
Hold on a second. Pause for a second. Are people watching us right now? Apparently, Adventure Joe on Instagram says he's watching us live.
Yeah.
Because we're on Google
We're
Hangout.
on Google
I didn't
Hangouts.
realize. Hey, Joe. Good. Thanks for watching us live. For crying out loud. Hello.
Hey, he's writing
He's
us-
acknowledging watching us.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up now.
All right.
And I will listen to you wrap up and play the game as well.
Okay, so that's going to do it for Season 2, Episode 48 of the Atomic Geeks. I forgot to mention off the top, darn it, about our big Season 2 celebration extravaganza that's coming up in just 2 episodes. I'm really excited about the guests. I'm really excited about the guests we've confirmed. I think we mentioned last week, people who've never been on the show. I'm kind of nervous, some people I'm going to be nervous to talk to, right? Like, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, this is like, we don't want to overhype something here, but like these people you've heard before. That's probably the best way to say it. And we've tried to get ourselves a topic that's a unique one as well. We're going to be doing something a little...
A topic that is as geek-worthy as the guests that will be on this show.
Well,
Yes.
and something that we've not done in our show either. We've never asked this question before, right? So it's going to be unique, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited, actually.
No, I can't wait. It's really going to cap off the Season 2 kind of experiment pretty well. You know what I mean? It's going to definitely highlight that. I'm excited. Okay, so if you are one of the 5 listeners who listen to the Atomic Geeks podcast, then please go and renew your iTunes review or shout out on Facebook, on the Twitter. You can go on Tumblr and see naked pictures of DiGiovanni. We've all got Instagram accounts.
Those are on there?
Those are on there. So yeah, shout out, reach out, and touch someone through some digital means. We are the Atomic Geeks. Mike DiGiovanni will be appearing at the Atomic Geeks, or at the Fan Expo, and signing autographs there, so look for him there as well. And yeah, that's going to do it for Season 2, Episode 48 of the Atomic Geeks. For Christian Nielsen, for Mike Downs.
Oh, it's like I'm hosting next week. I actually have a topic we can actually mention.
Oh, okay. And before I wrap it up, Christian Nielsen, what's on tap for next week's podcast?
Next week, as I host this episode, not this episode, but that episode that hasn't started recording yet, not this episode, because we've done this episode. This episode is over. But the next new episode that you will listen to, I will be hosting it, and we are going to be creating play sets for various entertainment properties that do not or maybe should not have them.
Oh, cool. I like that idea. Okay, so for Christian Nielsen, for Michael DiGiovanni, and for me, Mike Downs, we are the Atomic Geeks. There's only 3 of us, but that's the way it goes when you're hardcore. We will see you in 1 week's time. Good night.
Good night.
I'm hardcore.
Are we still live? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still live.